everyone. Just waiting a couple of minutes, just wait a couple of seconds now for...
Is your volume down?
It is, yeah. Hiya Pam, how are you? Is anybody else watching? Hiya Beverly, how are you?
Be gentle with him, he's a bit nervous tonight.
Once I get started, I'll be fine. Hope I'm not talking too loud. Hiya Mikey, how are you?
I pinned the link to the website.
Right, there is a pin at the bottom of the comment area, and that's for our website, and that's for things that we are using in the class today. Hi Gaina, how are you?
Yvonne as well.
Hi Dawn.
Hi Yvonne.
Yvonne hasn't popped up on my little page.
No, it says,
right.
she says she's watching.
Ah, right. Hi Sarah.
Oh yeah, you've got 10 people?
Yeah, I've got 10 people, so I'll get going in now. Hi Gaina. Right, if there's a little share button down at the bottom of the comments thing, if you'd like to share that, that'd be lovely. And then we can maybe get more people watching, which will make me feel like I'm in a proper class. Only I won't be shouting, so not that I do. Do I? Right.
No, of course you don't.
Right then, so this is the piece that we're going to work on, which is the colour piece. But as you can see, there is a blank piece of parchment here as well. And the blank piece is obviously cut from an A4 piece, and I've just cut it in half. But you can get parchment in A5 as well, so that's fine. So I'm going to show you how to go from the clear piece to this lovely piece here. Okay, so nice easy steps. I'm going to show you how to build the pattern, how to colour it, how to do a bit of white work, how to blend the colours, and also how to work out your spelling and where to start the spelling, because obviously with parchment it is reversed when you're doing it. So let's get started. So I think the other thing is as well, the piece I've done here is all from the starter kit, which is available, which is the starter kit that's available now. They've had 3 different starter kits. I had the first one, but I've managed to get the plates that are in the new one now. The new one now is different to the second starter kit they brought out as well. So I'll show you the plates that are in that starter kit. So the first one is you get an A4 Groovi plate mate. Hiya Donna. Okay, so that's the A4 Groovi plate mate, and that is a plate mate for your smaller plates to fit inside. So this is the square nesting plate that you can see there as well, and that also comes in the kit. Okay, and then I'm going to remove them and show you the rest of the plates. So the other plates that come in the kit are the moon, mountains and sun, and also the trees, and they came with the original kit. This is why I had. Okay, and then also And then there's also a number plate like that, which is a smaller plate that's also a groovy plate made for your tiny little plates like that. Hello, Donna.
Dawn wants to start again.
Hi, Linda. Okay, so they're all the plates. You also get 2 tools. Now, I know in the starter kit, I think they're numbered now. So the finer end would be number 1. The other end of the fine one is number 2. And then the second tool, the finer end is 3. And the wider end is 4. Okay, and they come in the kit as well. You also get some parchment paper. You also get a tumble dryer sheet, I think, as well.
Easy glide.
I think it's an easy glide sheet, so I think you get one of them as well. And you also get a step-by-step double sheet for showing you a couple of step-by-steps. And you also get a 220mm by 300mm black groovy mat, and that all comes in your kit. Okay, so we are doing an order for Groovi on Wednesday, so if anybody does want to order anything, then please just let us know, because we are going into work on Wednesday anyway. Hiya Tracy, how are you? Hiya Mum, how are you?
Hi, Mum.
You okay? Hope you're all well up in Salisbury.
Glad you could make it. To the light.
So the piece we're going to do is that piece, and I'm now going to show you how to get that from there with the plates that I've just shown you as well. Okay, so that is the Groovi starter kit. Right, so let's get started. So the first plate I'm going to use is my square nesting plate, and my square nesting plate fits perfectly into my thing like that.
Deborah's on
Hiya Deborah. And then I'm going to take a piece of my A5 parchment paper. Can everybody see these plates okay? You can use different ball tools, Donna. We also do another set in the work, which is 3 embossing tools, and they look a bit like them.
They're on the website.
And they are on our website. And again, the smallest one would be a 1/2 mil. Second would be a mil, and they go up to 3 mil then, which is your biggest ball tool. But yeah, they are available. Okay. So other ball tools can be used as long as the ball tool isn't too big to actually go into the groove of the actual plate itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to line my parchment up to the line of the plate that's inside the center. So that's to the bottom of the plate and to the end of the plate. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tape that with some low tack tape. You can use washi tape as well, or you can use Groovi tabs as well. So I'm just taping it in place. And just as a reference point, I'm just going to make sure I'm using the right square that I used. I am, so there we are. So I'm going to take my number 1 in my tool and my tumble dryer sheet. I'm going to rub my tool first, and I'm also going to rub over the parchment where I'm going to be doing some work. So on my piece of work, the square is to the right when the piece is the right way up. But obviously when I'm working on it, you have to work on your parchment from the back. So that's why I put this parchment on the left hand side with the squares. So here we go. So I'm going to use my number 1 tool. I'm just going to get into the groove of the line, and I'm just going to go across. I'm going to go down, and by taping I know that's holding it. I'm going to go all the way around the outer line of the square, And I'm also going to do the 1, 2, 3, 4 is the 5th square in from that outer one. So count the outer one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm also going to do that one as well. And you can tell my tool is just glided in that groove, and that's all because I've used the tumble dryer sheet or the glide sheet. Okay, so that is my first 2 squares for my first frame. So what I need to do now is to move things to the side, because I need to do the side panel which I had the balloons on. So Gavin is just saying it's really weird because there's a delay on the video, which I'm seeing as well. So I'm now taking the right hand side of my parchment and I'm placing that in to the edge of the plate and to the bottom of the plate, just like I did on the left hand side. And I'm going to do the outer square again, but I'm only carrying it on from the square that's there, and then that's the start of my panel. So what I'm now going to do is go, and I'm going to put that under a black piece of paper so you can actually see the white lines on that. So make it dark. So that is my panel now, which matches what I have here. So you can just see the happy and the top part of my panels, so you can see the lines there. Okay. So what I'm going to now do is to take my nested square out of the center, leave my groovy plate mate in place, and I'm now going to place my alphabets and numbers, my numerical plate, and my tags and ovals. Glad you're well, Mum. So now I'm going to show you how I did the balloons, which are on that side there. So I'm going to put some balloons in, but I'm not going to put as many in tonight. I'm just going to show you how to overlap and underlap a few. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few of them. So, believe it or not, I actually used these little ovals to make a balloon. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to use this single oval because then I can place them exactly where I want. So what I want to do is, and I'm going to put them at slight angles to the ovals and straight. So I'm just going to do an oval, sort of there. And I'm going to put another one here. And I'm just going to bring one down a little bit lower. I'm going to really curve that one so that it goes in. And once you get used to the tool, I can rub the tool on the parchment in that groove as much as I want. It's not going to go through the parchment paper because the groove is only so deep to allow that. So I've now got 3 balloons there, but I want to just put another 2 in. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put one just sort of behind this one. So it's just behind this one. Okay, and then we'll have another one come in. I don't know, where should we have another one? Up the top here? Down the bottom. We'll have one coming out from behind that one as well. In fact, we'll go right behind, we'll make a little shape of it. But this one now is behind these 2, so I'm only going to do the part that's between that. I'm going to stop at that line there. So now what that looks like is 5 balloons just underneath there. Now the balloons also have a little tie area where you tie it. So when we come to our big plate here, there's a little logo on there. I don't know if you can see that really well, but it's this little logo there. And what I'm going to do with that one is now put my little balloon tie pieces at the bottom. So I'm just going to place that at the top, at the bottom of the balloon, and do them there. So this is like the little roof that goes over the top of some letters in some languages. I know we use it in the Welsh language on Sean or Sian and stuff like that. Okay, so now I'm going to place one of them on each of the balloons.
Donna lost feed.
Yes, that's where I got the balloon shape from, Gavin. So it's surprising what you can get done from sort of a little area of the... Hello, Don, I didn't realise you'd gone, love. Are you having problems? Right, so now I've got my balloons. I need to put a string now from those balloons down to the bottom here. And what I used for those was I took out those ones. And I added in my moon, sun and stuff like that, but I'm actually going to turn it so that it's top to bottom, so my mountains are going that way instead of the way it should go. Okay, and also when you've got a groovy plate, you should be able to read groovy properly, and then you know it's on the side of the grooves. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use, there's a couple of wiggly lines in here, mountains and all sorts of things, and I'm going to use this long wiggly one here as a little hillock to do my little lines. So I'm going to place that line in the middle of this top balloon first, and I'm going to come from the bottom there. I'm going to put that string so it's going behind this balloon, so I'm going to miss out that piece that's in the balloon. I'm going to come down here, but I want it to go in front of that balloon, but I want to go behind that balloon, so I'm going to miss the bit that's in that balloon, and I'm just going to bring that out down to here. Okay, so that's my one string in, and then I'm going to come up to that one. So I've got my little line coming up into this little one here, and I'm just going to do everything that's outside of all the balloons and bring down there. So I'm actually putting a line now for each balloon, so it's actually all coming well. So I'm going from this one, and because this balloon is in front of this balloon, I can actually do a line straight through that and coming down to there. Okay, now I know this one I've already got a line, but that's come from this one. So I'm just going to make another curvy line. So I'm going to find a real nice curvy one. There we are. And I'm going to come from that middle one there. I'm going to bring that in like that and do that. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm missing one. Right, I'm missing one from this balloon here. So I'm just going to bring that one down. I'm just going to grab a straight line-ish. I'm going to bring that down. Okay, so that's how I've done that. Okay. So that's all the balloons in place. So on my original, on the balloons, there's a little black panel in the back. Now the panel is the same size as the inner panel here, which was the 5th square in, but I need the gap to be the same all the way around on all 4 sides. So this is how I'm going to do that. Yeah, I do know you and technology, Donna. Bit like me, this is why Gavin had to set this up tonight. I'm good with the craft, but give me the technology, not very good. But I'm getting there. So, I put my nested squares back in, and I'm now going to place my balloons back on there. And I was actually 5 lines in. So if I place my right hand side back on the square that I did here, I can actually go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and know that that is my little square. But I've got to be careful on how far I'm coming in. Okay, so I'm literally following that line, and I'm placing these balloons within that box there. I move my fingers out of the way so you can see that, and I go across those strings, I'm just going to go straight through them. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring that way. Okay, I'm going to place this line, which is the end of the square here, on the end of this square. And I'm going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oh look, I almost had that perfect. So what I do now, I just finish that bit off, and then that becomes my panel that's inside there. So now my balloon is actually inside a narrower panel using the same squares. How much pressure do I use? Right, with the pressure you can put, if I get a scrap bit of parchment, yeah, I can really push down hard on this and really push down it. It's not going to go through at all, okay? And even if I come out of the hole, it's not going to mark my parchment, okay? It'll only make a line or a mark if I slip out and go into another line. But to be honest, unless you're using the number 1 tool and you keep going up and down the line, you're not gonna split it. But if you keep going up and down with number 1, you will. It'll start cracking and breaking, okay? So that's what that is. And some people actually use that technique to actually break the parchment, but I don't like doing that because it's too rough, okay? So if I was going to cut along a line, I would actually cut it either on a guillotine with a straight edge scissors, or a craft knife with a ruler, or you can use your 2 needle tools and snip. All right, hope that answered your question. Hi Bev. Right, so I've now done my panels and my balloon, which is that, which is what I have there. Okay, so I've got balloons. I've got less balloons in today's one, but I've done that. So I now want to add a couple of numbers into here. And would anybody like me to do any type of numbers at all? Because this card I'm going to do today, I will finish at everything, and it will be a nice little question, and somebody can actually win that. So if anybody would like an age on it or not, if somebody would just like it blank, I can leave it blank, but you know, I can show you a balloon with the numbers and how to do the numbers on there anyway.
I wonder if Mike's still watching.
If you're still watching, Mike, say hi.
Are you coming up to 60?
Okay, so I'm putting this back in because I need to put my land plate in, and I know Dawn will be interested in this little one. Okay, now I'm not sure whether to put the tree into this one. I think I will, so I think I will put the tree in first, because on my picture the tree is forward of everything, so it's right in the front and the mountains are then behind it. So if I bring my tree plate in and I choose a tree, so we'll do this little tree here. So as you can see on the tree, there's lots of leaf detail and all sorts of things like that, but I'm not actually going to do all that detail. I'm actually just going to do the outer line of the tree, and notice I haven't had to rub this parchment with the tumble dryer sheet or easy glide sheet, and I'm just taking the trunk of the tree and I'm only stopping sort of this far away. Okay. No, the light pad doesn't come with the starter pack, because if they did a starter pack with the light pad, then you'd be paying somewhere around £100 for the kit. But we do sell the light pads at our shop.
That's the A4 one.
And that is the A4 one, but we can get an A3 one as well.
And click on the link.
And you can click on the link and actually,
Take you to the website.
and that'll take you to the website for that. So I've actually done the base of my tree.
Jane has asked a question as well.
Hi Jane. What pencils do you use and what do you use for blending them? Right. I have always been a fan, Jane, of the Spectrum Noir colour blend pencils. I invested in, gotta be honest, because I teach as well, I invested in the full, I'm not sure if it's 4 or 5 tins. They are a little bit of an investment, but they're not the most expensive ones in the or out there on the ranges. And there's literally 120 colours within the tins, and they are absolutely fantastic. And I bought them from Valley Craft, which the link is below, and to blend them with, just get my blending solution. It's in the front of the box, back there. It's in the middle one. Oh, this is now one. If you pull the zips down there, I'll be back with you now, everyone. Gavin's just going through my big bag. It's in the middle one there. It should be a big pot, right? It has, no, I know, it came off. So the blending solution I use is actually a Crafter's Companion one. And it is actually called blending solution. But what I do, this is a big pot, and the reason my labels come off is because it did leak in my bag at one point because I hadn't quite tightened it up, so it took all the label off the front. But it's a good blending solution, and that's all I do with that. Is I've taken a little old jam jar, put a piece of old kitchen sponge in there, and actually poured a little bit of liquid in there, and then I use my blending tool just opening the zip a minute. I use a blending tool, which is a Pergamano blending tool, which is that, and then I use them with the different tips as well, because the tips are actually removable, so you can keep one for each colour sort of way. So you can keep one for reds, one for yellows, one for greens, one for blues, and so on. But by putting the liquid into the jam jar, you can actually control the amount of liquid you're picking up. Okay, hope that answered your question. Lovely. It's nice to know somebody shares my passion for those pencils, because they are very good. So with the tree, obviously I did the stem and I did the outer branch, but what I'm going to do with my tree on my main one, I've got different panels, and I literally just turned my parchment like this, took my tool and literally just took little parts of the tree in different panels, and just use the outer edge of the tree to put some panels in to make the tree just a little bit more interesting, really, because I didn't want it to have all just little leaves and little branches. I wanted it to be fully green, but I wanted it to look sort of patchworky. So that's what I've done there, and now I know where my panel is there. I can actually then place it back on to my tree stump in place, because I can line it perfectly up again, and I'm going to continue those lines until I come to the first panel, which is now finished, that tree. So that is the tree finished. I'm then going to use the, and I've just moved my light box, so I will move it back into place, and that's fine there. Sorry about that. So I know, Dawn, this is the part you would enjoy, because you asked about this plate. You asked how the sun ray was actually done. Well, this is how it was actually done. I actually put my mountains in first. So I took the 3 mountains at the top here. So, and I just tape that down. If you're unsure of not taping it down, please tape it down, because it'll make it easier for you. So I'm going to just do the mountains. Now that's seeming a little bit scratchy to me, so just rub it again with the non-stick sheet thing or tumble dryer or whatever you want to use. Instead, one does come in the kit, And when I'm bringing these mountains down, I'm going to stop at the tree there, lift my tool and go to the opposite side of the tree. So I'm keeping it so it doesn't look like the mountains are going through the tree stump basically, and stop there, and I've already done that a little bit there. Okay, so that is that piece. So I've done the mountains, and now I'm going to do the sun ray. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a big sun, and I'm going to go do it slightly different this. I'm going to bring the sun ray the opposite way. Okay, so I'm going to place my moon up in my sun or moon, you can use the sun or moon. And I'm just going to place that there, and there's that. And then Dawn, this is how I did the sun ray. I turned my moon and mountains plate, and from the center part of my sun here, there is a straight line, so it's for a horizon, and that's all I done first was actually place that straight line and went straight through. Okay, then what you do, you just turn it at a different degree, and you do that line again, and you just stop when you get to anything that you've already done, and just try to keep these spaces around the same here, and that'll give you an even sort of look then. So I'm doing another one. And because that one's quite straight, I'm going to go like that. I'm just going to put that straight along there. Okay, and then to finish it off, I'm going to go the opposite side. And this is how you get your rays going. So as you can see, even though there wasn't a plate with rays, I've actually made rays from the plates I've already got. So always look beyond what your plate is already there for, and that is my rays there. Okay, so that is how you do the rays. So on my panels on my actual piece, which I will move that off and show you, I've also got corners that go from the corner of the inner square to the outer square, and also with the balloons and everything as well. So I'm going to put that in as well. And to do that, I just slide that back on, and I use the same straight line. Okay, and I just line up the corner of the center square to the corner of the frame there, and I just continue doing that. And because it's only a small line, I'm actually going to take the tape off so it's easier for me to control. I'm going to continue to do that. And also where the balloons are as well, so go to that line, going to do that line. So if anybody has got any more questions, please don't feel bad about asking them. That's what I'm here for today. If you're unsure, just ask a question please, and I'll try to answer them. Okay, so that is now those corners brought in, and now the most difficult part of any sort of groovy work is always the wording. Okay, because with Groovi or Parchment, it's not too complicated, Helen. It's absolutely fine. It's just knowing the steps to take. And that's why if you wanted to come to a class and have a go of it, you can use my tools in the class and my plates, just so you can have a play and then see if you do get on with it. I never say to people, buy the tools, come to a class, use mine in the class, and then see how you go. Okay, so that you know you can invest in something you like. Okay, hi Sarah, how are you? Right, so my next part is putting the wording in. So I'm just going to turn my plate like this, and if you look, all the letters are now back to front. So the B is the straight line is to the right, and it's the bumpy bits are going out. So this is where you need to sort of really concentrate and think, okay? You can do a template on a scrap bit of parchment, but I tend to just go for it because I'm so used to it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Or would you like me to show you how to do the template? Let's do a template and then at least you'll know how to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a scrap bit of parchment. I'm going to do, just going to go over the lines quickly, just to get a rough idea, okay, of H. I'm just using a bigger tool here so it'll glide a bit quicker so I can just do the template. A. So you've got to look at the words at a different way as well. And I'm using the bottom of the letters here to line up my next letter. So I know it's going to be square. That was Gavin turning on the plugs. Okay. So that's H-A-P-P-Y. I'm a H-A-P-P-Y. Who remembers that program? It's a blast from the past. Oh, thanks for that, Donna. It's very kind. So H-A-P-P-Y. So P is the middle letter, and then birthday is B-I-R-T-H-D-A-Y. So there's 8. So if I put, so it's T-H is the middle letter. So if I bring the T to the middle of the A and the P, and you can do this on any scrap parchment. You could even draw a white pencil line or a normal pencil line just to get that in line. Hi Brenda, how are you? So I can need an I before the T. So this is the complicating part, is when you're trying to work out what letter is next. B-I-R, because obviously you're spelling it backwards. I'm quite used to this because I used to do typesetting as a printer when I was a kid. There we are, and like I said, you can make mistakes just like I have. Haha. But that's fine. It's just knowing where my letters are, and this is a good way of doing it, because if you do make a mistake, you've done it on a piece of scrap, not on your actual piece of work. Because if you've done a lot of time building your work up, then you don't want to make a mistake really. But I can rectify that while I go the, so I'm just finishing the A and the Y for birthday, and the Y at the bottom there. Okay. I've done birthday instead, a bit like Brifter in the Welsh Valleys, but not quite. Okay, so I'm going to take my piece of work now, and because I know my happy birthday, which I have there, I want to put happy in the top part, so I can centralize that into my frame, like that, and I can actually take a piece of tape on the bottom, like that, and I know then that my happy, I put that, it's in the middle of my frame and it's quite central. Okay, so now what I can do, I can slide my H into place over the H just underneath. So find the H, slide my H on there, I can flip this piece over, and then I know my H is in place. And because this is fine, I might have to give it another rub. So that's the H. And then the A. So you just line it up then with the next letter and know that you're going like that. But and you carry on and carry on and carry on, but because I know where I'm going now, so once I put my first letter in and I know the first letter is square, I can then continue the way I usually do. H, A, and like I said, I missed a bit on the A there, so I'm just going to place it back on the top and go back in. And then the P, so I'm going to line up the H and the A on the word, the bottom of the word in there, and then I know my P is going to be straight as well. So use parts of the plate to get them straight for yourself. And then P over again, so I'm lining up the bottoms of the words with the letters with them. So that's my, that's that, so that's H, A, P, P and Y. And the letters are along the bottom. So I hope all of you are keeping safe with what's going on at the moment and enjoying what I'm showing you today. So I'm now done the happy, now I need to do the birthday. So again, I'm going to line up my birthday. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to spell it completely right this time. So I've centered my birthday. Sorry, let's do this in picture. And let's put it down here. Birthday, let's centralize that there. Tape that down there. And then I can start with my B. Okay, so I'm going to line up my B. My B is lined up, flip that over. And that was felt a bit scratchy, so let's rub that. So, yeah, so it was deliberate, yeah, definitely. Thanks for that, Mum. No, you're on my side. So B, I just wanted to see if everybody was paying attention and looking, that's all. So now B-I-R instead of B-R-I, like my deliberate mistake. Wink, wink. Dawn, we forgot to give you your card today as well that you won from from answering that question the other day. When you left, Gavin said, I went in and Gavin said, oh, I forgot to give her the card. He didn't say it as camp as that, mind. Or was I pitched as a... So I'm just going to do the A, D, the A. And if this falls into place, you know I'd be really surprised and chuffed, because it means it worked and I know what I'm doing. And the Y. Of course it's gonna be right. There we are. So that is now my happy birthday, and it's all nice and centered to the two little frame panels there. Okay, so my next part is doing the patterns that I had up the side of my two panels here, and I think I'll miss some off the top one this time, so I'll make it just a little bit different. And how I did that was I actually took the small moon, or the small sun, not the large sun. So again, I'm using exactly the same plates. Okay, and I'm placing one towards the end, there, just in that downwards part of the frame. And it actually fits perfectly in between there. This was a lucky accident. I wanted to put something in there and actually found that the moon actually fitted there. And this was 5 lines apart for the frame, and that's why it fitted. Okay, and then I know I've got to leave the tiniest amount of gap in between that one. The tiniest amount of gap in between that circle there. And then I should have my middle one that'll fit in there. As if by magic. We're in South Wales, Jane, near Caerphilly, but our shop is actually in Aberbargoed, which is near Bargoed and Blackwood. We do web orders though, and we have had people come in from the Cotswolds before for classes. So yeah. So the good thing with Groovi is as well is when you're doing it, the time really does fly. You don't realise how long you've actually been doing it. So that was my circles, and then inside the circles I put like a little groovy little overlay bit. And basically that overlay bit was a part of this thing down here. Or you could actually use, oops, just knocked that off. Sorry everybody. And there's my light back on. Hey, it's it by magic. And there was light. So I'm going to actually use the Q or the O. I think I'll use the O actually, because then I can just centralize it into there. Are you from Llanelli? Last time I was in Llanelli, I was in Llanelli Rugby Club with a duo. They were actually singing. I lived in Aberdeen at the time then, so that's a good while ago. That was 20 odd years ago. Unfortunately, there wasn't many people there because the landlord of the rugby club had forgotten that the team was actually playing away that day, and they were playing away quite a distance and didn't actually. So we arrived, I set up, and about 10 people turned up. so it was a bit of a journey for nothing really, because they still paid in mind, but we had to then pack up and go early, which was quite fun. Lovely place though. So I'm now putting these O's. Hiya John, how are you?
Reading for the Midlands,
Oh, so you saw the light and came to Wales then, Jane? Just like Gavin did, who is the owner of Valley Craft, who is the giggler that keeps giggling alongside me there. So I've now done the little ovals inside the circles, and then what I did, I actually put little lines to join them through the centre. So just put only in the top and the bottom part of the actual circles there. And this is just adding an extra little pattern to it all. It's always something I do when I'm doing Groovi, is look for the little details. I can just make that card look a little bit extra special, make it look like you've done a lot more work on it with little effort. Missing you being our neighbours again, John. As soon as all this is over, we'll have to come over and I'll have to play some darts with you as well. If you've got a dartboard set up. So I'm literally just making like a little, bit like a target, so I'm doing the 2 crosses, making the cross through there. I'm just doing that. Okay, so that now is my full pattern. Okay, so yes, came to see my dad. All right, so your son lives in Llanelli then. Oh, that's lovely. I'll bring it back in focus in a minute. There we are. Sorry about that. You will come back into focus. You will. The focus is with me. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is some white work. Ooh, that's one thing I haven't done. On the balloons, there are little light sources where the sun is actually catching the tops of the balloons. So I'll show you what I used for that, because I'm using exactly the same plates that I've used before. So I will show you how to do that. Okay, and it's all those little tiny little bits like that. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my Groovi plate mate again, and I'm just going to bring in one of the other plates, and I'm just going to turn the other plate around so there's no lines on it, so I can't damage anything or stuff like that. And I'm actually going to turn my plate around so that I can get to these two little bits here and this little circle. So I don't know if you can see that on the... Yeah. So it's these two little bits here and the inner circle of this one. What I'm going to do, these two balloons here, I'm going to put the light source to this side, and these two I'm going to put the light source to that side. So this is what I'm going to do. So these two, I'm going to just take the right hand side of those two sort of 6699 type things. It might be a comma actually. Yeah, I think it's a comma. So I'm doing that there on the the right hand side, and I'm bringing it over to the circle. I'm just doing the very inner circle there, and I'm just going to bring that little bit around there. I'm just going to put a little line up the top there. So now that is my shadow. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, can you see that there? Yeah, I think it's still in focus. So I'm going to just do that on all my balloons. Place that there. And I don't have to put the little line, but I definitely will be putting the little dot and the little bubble on most of them. So now I'm going to do the left hand side ones. So like I said, I like to look at plates and find the different things I can use to make things up. Up. And then the little circle in the centre of the big one there. So now I've actually got my little things there. Okay, so now we're going to come to white work in. So to white work, I tend to use a rubber mat. Now in the Groovi kit you do get a black mat which is soft and squishy on one side, and then it's hard like a craft mat on the other end. Okay, but I sort of found that was too soft for me, but I did use it quite a while until I actually came across this little thing there. I'm going to make sure this is focusing in on there, just in case. I may turn off the light to see how that looks. Yep, I think that's going to focus in better, and I think you can see the lines better on there as well. Right, so I will turn the light back on when we come to colouring, so you can see how much of a mess it looks when I first start doing that. How are we going?
25 past 8.
Oh, it's not bad. So I'm going to use the large tool, which is the number 4 tool from the Groovi kit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to white work the little light sources in these bubbles. Now for the little dots, I'm actually going to use the number 2 tool, and then for the bigger ones I'm going to use the number 4 and the number 3. Okay, so let's get going. So for the little dots, I'm just going to take my tool and I'm just going to do like a little circle, just put a little bit of pressure, and that'll turn that little dot into a white spot. So I'm just going to do a little dot there. With the balloons, Donna, you can just choose, because my balloons are going at different angles, I've just chosen that side for this one and that side for that one. But normally pick a side. So if you were actually putting the sun in and you had things here, the light source would be hitting this side of the tree. So your dark area would be on this side of the tree and underneath. Okay, so the tops of the mountains would be a lighter colour, and then where they're behind the other mountain, it would be darker. So pick a source. If you're not sure, and if you forget, just put something on the corner like that, and know then that's your sun, and anything that it hits in that direction, the first thing it hits is going to be the light part, and then beyond that is going to be darker. I hope that explains it. I know a lot of people struggle with light sources and which way does it go from and stuff like that. Just going to do that. I'm going to come to my number 4 and my number 3. And I'm actually going to just... So I'm actually going left, right, up and down on the bigger areas. Up, down, left and right. Up, down, left and right. If I just went up and down like that, I'd end up with lines, because the tool will only go in lines. But because I'm going up and down and left and right, it'll actually fill in that light source. Now I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to lift it up a bit closer to the camera. Where is it? Where is it? I don't know if you can see that, but there is like a little grey area in the middle of the bigger bits. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go down the tool size now and go over that bit again. So I'm going to go with the number 3 tool now, up and down, left and right. And when you come to the mat, this is where you need to be a little bit more cautious with how much pressure you're putting on. Pressure on a mat all depends on the mat that you're using. Is it the same pressure for white work? Thanks for you. Yes, it is the same pressure for white working. But your light, this is actually the white working. The line art is literally line art, so I wouldn't count that as white work. Any white work is anything that you're filling in, so that would be your white work. Okay, and also as well, I think we'll leave those as the white work thing there, but I will come around to these a bit later and show you a little bit more on there as well. But that is now my little bubbly bits there. Hi Lorraine. Okay, so I've now done that bit there. Okay, so I've got my bubbly bits. So now what I want to do, I want to go into the colouring bit now. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my embossing mat away. I'm going to turn my light back on so I don't blind you all. Okay. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to take my lovely colouring pencils. And I'm just going to leave all my blending stuff to the side a minute. Okay, that's fine. Okay, just wanted to... So I'm actually going to be colouring the balloons, and I'm going to be colouring the balloons where it has shadows. Okay, so just like the light source, I've got my light source here, so that side of the balloon will be lighter, and then I'll do that side of the balloon darker, and this side of the balloon lighter, and this side will be darker, and that side will be lighter. So, and I'm going to vary the colours as well. So I'm looking at the colours that I might be using within my image over here. So I think we will go with a yellow, a nice colour yellow, which is the number 14. And then I'm also going to go with a red, which is a number 28 in the Spectrum Noirs. May even, I've only got 5 this time, so what I'll do an orange as well. And then I'm going to pick a nice green, and then I'll do a nice blue as well. Okay, so I've now got my 5 colours for the balloons. So I'm going to start with my yellow, and I think I'm going to make this top one yellow. So what I'm going to do, I'm not putting too much pressure with this pencil. I'm just going to go little circle motions. I'm literally just going to coat this side of the balloon. Like that. Okay. Might not be able to see that on the camera, I don't know. Don't know if you can see that. You see that colour? Yeah. Yeah, so that's there. So I haven't coloured this, the left hand side of it basically. Then I'm going to take a blue one, and I'm going to do the blue in the middle, on the middle balloon. I'm going to do the same, but I'm doing the opposite side. And because this balloon is more angled, I'm actually doing sort of more the top half and a little bit of the bottom bit. Okay, so that's that. Then I'm going to take a red, and I'm going to put the red across here as well. So I think you can see all these colours lovely. And I'm going to just put that red on this side of the balloon, because that's where it would be dark, because that balloon is in front of that one, which would cast a shadow onto that one. You should blow any crumbled pencil that goes onto your parchment, because if you rub it like that, you may drag that crumbly piece and drag all the colour as well, so you would end up with a line. But because it's pencil, you can rub it out, so that's why I don't worry too much about that. So this balloon that's behind everything is going to be really dark along the top part here, and it's going to be really dark around here, and then it's going to be really light in the middle, because that's the part where it's behind this balloon and it's behind this balloon, so that's where I'm going to put my shadows as well. So if you imagine that's my hand here, and this balloon is behind, if you can see there's a shadow just behind it, so that's where it would be darker. Okay, so the other colour I haven't used is green. So again, I'm going to come onto the side of this one. And then I'm going to get my nice little blending liquid in. And the other thing I need to do is to colour these little balloon tie bits in the colour I'm using. I would suggest using sharp pencils, but I'm pretty good with these, so I like to use that. Okay, so there's my colours. I'm just going to drop them to the side a minute, so you can see what I've done there. Thank you for all the love and the likes, thank you. It's very kind. Oh. And now I'm going to take my blending tool, which is the Pergamano blending tool. And I'm going to pick, I got lots of different tips. So I've got one for green, I've got one for the red, one for the blue, one for the orange. I think that was the one I used for my yellow yesterday. So there we are, and I've got quite a few tips. So okay. So what I'm going to do first is my yellow one. Now it's always good to have a piece of kitchen towel or tissue as well for this. Hi Lee, how are you? It's nice to be on the opposite side of a live for a change. Are you still in full unicorn? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my blending fluid and put some colour down. I've got my tip, my blending tip for the yellow, and I'm just going to tap it in very quickly, because that is blending fluid in a glass jar with a little bit of a kitchen sponge. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my kitchen towel and I'm just going to tap off a little bit of that liquid, and that means then I'm not going to saturate the colour, because if your tip is too wet it'll actually lift the colour away instead of blending it. Okay, so it's just tapping your thing, and all I'm going to do, don't know if you can see, but this is the yellow, and it's already yellow because of the yellow from the last time. So I'm actually just going to blend the outer darker end there, blend that in, and then it makes it a lot smoother. You can even go into your little tails as well. Okay, so I don't know if you can see how blended that is. I know my tips are all rolling around now, but you can see it's brighter on the one end, it's brighter on this end than it is over the other end, and that's what we're aiming for. And while there's still blending fluid on there, you can actually take the pencil again if you want to be brighter, and just go over the top like that. And what that does, it actually does take, because the liquid is on there, it actually does melt the pencil lead as you're placing it on the top. Okay, and if you find you've gone on too much, you can just blend that a little bit more as well. Okay. Oh, you took it all off. Gavin would have left it on. So I don't know if any of you saw Lee's live earlier on blending the rules with Rhys Jones. I did share it, so you may have seen it, you may not. Okay, so I've done the yellow, so I'm just going to place my yellow tool down in my little pot, and now I'm going to get my pink, and again I'm just going to take my pink tool, pop it into there, tap it onto my kitchen towel for a little bit just to take some of the liquid off, and you'll probably see it a lot better on this pink one because it's a darker colour. So you can actually see, if I just do half of the balloon, and you can see the difference, how smooth the colouring is from the blending to the other side. Okay, so it's a lot smoother, and that's what we want. So I just blend the dark bit first, get that colour moving smoothly, and then I just bring the tool down then, because what I'm doing then is actually removing the colour from the tool slowly but surely as I bring it to the end of the balloon. So that's where it's darker. Oh, you saw Lee live, Donna? Good, wasn't it? I actually missed Rhys's. I know he was doing one at 7, I think. I missed that one because I was preparing for this one, so might have to look back on that one and watch it later. So now I'm going to do the orange one, and again I'm just starting around the edge where I want the darkness, where I've actually put the pencil, and because this is dark on both sides, I'm going to do the two ends first, and I'm just going to blend it into the middle to make the shadow and the light spot in the center of this balloon. So that's that balloon done, and it always looks a lot rougher when it's on on the actual light box because the light box is very unforgiving. So I've just changed my tool off now for my green. Again, just dabbed it in my little tub and do this. I'm just going to blend out the edge of that green first and melt all the pencil lines. So that's what the blending solution does really, it gets rid of any lines from the pencil. And then while it's still got that little bit of colour on, you can actually draw it out to the other end of the balloon. Okay, so that's that one done. And once you get used to the amount of liquid that's on there, you'll feel straight away whether it's the right amount or the wrong amount. So I'm now put the tool on for the blue and dab that into there, and you end up with a lovely little daubed kitchen towel of different little dots of colour. And I'm going to go on to the blue. Hey Caroline, how are you? Hope you're keeping well. Oh dear. Well, if you persist, don't forget to let them know. Phone, is it 111 or 911?
You can in Wales.
Yeah, it's 111. Yeah, I think you can. Right, so that is my balloons coloured. And if I put that onto a bit of white, you can see the difference in colour then. You can see how different the colour looks. It's very dark though. So that's nicely blended. Okay. That's lovely. So the other bit of colouring that I actually done was on the sun ray, and when I did the sun ray I actually took a yellow, an orange and a red for the sun, and just like we did with the balloon, and put in a bit of yellow up to the top end here. Right, I think my lovely assistant here is going to sharpen my yellow pencil for me with my 2-edge ruler. It's got a small hole and it's got a big hole. The small hole is for these pencils that have got the numbers on, because that is a small lead. But I know the new ones that had the names on from the Spectrum Noir pencils, the colour blend ones, they actually made them thicker, and I haven't got any of those ones, but they would be in here then. Ah, yes I have. I've got one here. So there we are. So that's a thicker lead and that's a thinner lead, and you can really see the difference. They are much thicker, and you get a lot more lead in your pencil with the thicker one than you do with the thinner one. Thank you, Gavin, for the little giggle as well as sharpening my pencil. So now I'm adding some orange over the yellow, and then I'm going to go with my red end towards the end of the sun. Okay. Now, I know what most people are thinking, well, what tool are you going to actually use to blend this? Well, I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use 3 blending nibs, because when you're blending colours into each other, I could use a spare tip and just go from the lightest colour into the dark. But what I tend to do, I've got my yellow one on, so I like to just blend out the yellow until it comes near where the orange one is. So I just come up there, blend that. Then I put my orange one on. Who's what?
Jason Day.
Hiya Jason, how's things, cuz? And then because the orange and the red isn't too far off, I'm just going to go with my red one, my orange one, and just go straight from the orange into the red, and that'll blend those two colours into each other. So I'm just going to come down into the yellow a little bit, because that won't contaminate that. And I can still dip my tool into my blending fluid and then clean off some of that colour if you do contaminate. Okay, so don't be afraid to clean off some of your tools like that. Okay. It won't hurt them at all. And there we are. So that's my sun. And the rays, that's all I done with the rays was I went from the one end of the rays and just put some pencil down the one side, thinner towards the top where the sun is and coming out wider at the bottom there. So I'm not one for, if I just want to blend some colour out, I'm not one for going, I need to be really careful what I'm doing. I just get some colour in it because I know that the blending solution will actually fix a lot of that and blend him out for me anyway. Okay, so don't be afraid. If you think it's looking a bit rough, it can't look any rougher than this. Okay, so it's just, you know. Alright, and you could leave it like that and just blend the ends of it with the yellow. Okay, or you could actually take a piece of cloth, kitchen towel, dip that into your liquid, and I'll do that actually, just to show you a different way of blending as well. If you take a piece of kitchen towel and bring it in and fold it in half, and then fold it in half again, and then fold in half long ways like that and open it back up, and then fold the two ends into that center fold and then fold that, sorry, open it back up to there where you've done them into the center fold, fold it like a little airplane and then fold up like that, and that gives you a little point there. And if you just quickly dip that into your liquid, and that would be loads, my hand is absolutely soaking from it, so you know, this is how little you need. Okay, and then you just use the tip and you just blend that color out. So this is what I'd suggest if you were using, if you wanted to make your own color parchment. You can actually use kitchen towel that's rolled up like this. And as long as it's quite firm and you've got a tip to it, you're absolutely fine. I'm just moving it around. I'll just hold that up so you can see the difference between the two different ones. So you see the top two are really blended out and the next ones aren't. Okay, tiny bit of blending solution on that again. So if you've got a bigger area, you can do that. It's actually the Crafter's Companion blending solution for their pencils. Comes in a big pot, which my assistant is holding up now. It lasts forever if you don't not close it properly and put it in your bag and it rolls around and empties half out, which is what happened to mine, which is why the labels come off it, because the blending solution actually stripped the label off as well. So I'm just doing that. But click on the link on the bottom of the comments area for Valley Craft and it'll take you to our website and the area where all the tools and stuff are. Cotton buds, Donna, cotton buds tend to hold on to too much liquid. Even the ones that got the flat head, they do tend to hold on to too much liquid, which will then just take your colour away instead of spreading it out. So it is much more control with all of kitchen towel, or you can even use toilet roll but even Charleston is a little bit more absorbent than, because it's softer, because it's for your derriere. It does absorb a little bit more, and I could go back in with that, and I can actually go into the sun as well. And so you can use kitchen towel for all your blending really. It's just much more difficult for the bigger areas. Okay, so that's my sun rays. Okay. Are you picking up ideas, Mum? Watching? You'll be in your craft room tomorrow, groovying away. Right, so on my original piece, it actually looks like the balloons are in front of a black panel. Okay, and that's all that is literally a black colouring pencil. And I've literally just gone in, just scribble some colour in, because I'm going to be blending this out as well. Trying to keep my hand out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Doesn't have to be too good a colouring area, as long as you keep within the lines of the outer box. But if you do go out, then you can still erase that with an eraser. You can still delete it with an eraser, even after you've blended. If you're blending and you go outside the lines, just leave the liquid dry, the blending liquid dry with the colour. Go back to it with a fine point eraser or an eraser pencil or a normal eraser, and just blend that out basically. Okay, so I've actually got a tool for my black. So I'm going to pop that. Would you use a blending solution with ordinary paper, with the pencils, or just water? Well, with these wax pencils, with any wax pencils, you would have to use blending solution because water wouldn't actually melt the wax. This is what blending solution does. It melts the wax and allows you to actually move it around. Yep, you can use it on ordinary paper. The one paper I wouldn't use for this is the super smooth. Some super smooths you can pour water on, but no, some you can't. You'd have to, yeah, if you put water on a bit of a super smooth and the surface starts to come away, then you can't use your blending fluid on it, because it's a type of super smooth that doesn't take any fluid at all. It'll take alcohol pens, which is lovely, but not your blending pencils. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, this is my black, and I'm actually just blending that. And I am using my tip this time because I have to go around the balloons. So while I'm doing this, I'm thinking of a question to ask you as well, for somebody to win this piece of artwork that I'm doing tonight. So be aware that when I come into the, oops, forgot to dab that liquid on there, so it's puddling on my bit of parchment. There we are. So if you go on there, you'll know straight away if you put too much on it, because you'll just move too much colour around without actually blending it. So I'm going to actually show you a grid work thing on this now as well, once I've done this little piece. And then I'll give this a bit of chance to dry, and the yellow from the sun rays, and then I can go back in with the mountains then. So do try to keep away from areas that I've just blended. Not that I've ever had them blend into each other, but I just like to make sure. So there we are. So that is now my balloons in that area. Ooh, Jane, I've been parching, I've been doing Groovi classes for, it's got to be about 4 years, I think. And parching I've probably been doing for about 9. I did actually join a class with a person that was teaching within Valley Craft. That person then had to leave because of ill health and waiting for operations. And then people asked me to do, if I would run the class, because I tend to pick it up pretty quickly. And it's gone from there really, and to be honest, I've come on myself leaps and bounds, but it's a constant learning curve every time. You know, you're always learning. So never ever think that there's nothing to learn. There's always something to learn. You know, there's always new techniques, always new things to do. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. So about 9 years all in all. So that is my piece, and that is what I've got to at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to put them like that. So what I want to show you is this little grid work here. Okay, so I just want to show you that little grid work, and then maybe what I'll do one little mountain to show you that, and show you how to do one of these little banner things here, and then I'll show you a little bit of snipping. So let's go to this little bit of grid work. So within Groovi, and this shows how long I've been doing it, because the board I actually have is the Parchment bold grid, and Groovi, actually we can actually get a Groovi one which will be in a clear plate like this one, like your squares, but it's actually got little holes in it, and it's the same distance, but it is a bold grid. And I would suggest, if you are starting Groovi, to really look at just getting the bold grids, not the fine grids, because the bold grids are a lot harder to work with. Okay. Oh yeah, get the bold grids because they're easier to work with, whereas the fine grids are harder to work with because the holes are a lot smaller. So I don't know if you can see that yet. You can. I'm actually put this onto my grid, and I'm lining up one of the lines up here. And it's coming down here. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a line all the way up, and then I'm going to miss 2, and then I'm going to do another line, and that I'm going to do that with a number 2 tool, which is, that was the fine end, number 1, and I'm actually going to use the number 2 tool because that doesn't actually go through the hole. So the number 1 would actually go through the hole and break your parchment, the number 2 wouldn't. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place this down. I'm going to line up my line along one of the dotted edges like that, and I'm actually going to take some tape this time and tape that down. I'll find my tape.
Mark's watching you do.
Hiya Mark, how are you? Oh, thank you for that, Jane. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm just going to pick up 2 of my other pieces of tape here, just to tape that down. I'm sure a lot of the ladies that are watching tonight will actually tell you they thoroughly enjoy my classes. There's quite a few of them on tonight watching. So what I'm doing, I'm actually just pushing down into the hole of the line I want to do, and you can see I'm pretty quick at doing this. That's because I've got so used to doing it. And that's all this does, is actually form a grid. Gavin, while I'm doing this, Gavin will actually show you what the grid looks like. So as you can see, there's a square within the pattern. Okay, so and that's by doing a solid line first all the way up, and then doing missing 2, so I'm now missing 2 holes, and then I'm doing a solid line. So I'm literally doing the first line, the 4th line, 7th line, 10th line. Okay, you can see I'm just moving up. I'll just do a partial bit of this because like I said, I will finish this after, because otherwise this live could go on for quite a long time. So I will show you as many elements that I can, and then I will finish it off. So I've done 3 of my lines up there, and I'm going to do 2 there, miss 2 holes and go into the next ones. So I'm making a square in the middle, miss the next 2, do the next 2, miss 2 rows, do the next one. So I'm literally making my square block, and this is literally on a bold straight grid, and I like the metal one, to be honest with you, because it's A4. It means that you've got a bigger area to work with, but saying that, I have got people come to my classes that has the smaller grid that fits within your Groovi plate mate. It's a square plate, just like your nesting square ones that I've showed you tonight, and they're absolutely fine. There's no problem with them. So I've just done a little bit there just to show you, and I'll take that off and we'll finish that later. It'll be easy enough for me to put it back on. But literally, that's how I get that grid there. Okay, so that's how I'm going to get that grid. I'm actually going to do that down this piece and down this end here, and then I'm also going to do it in the center of these circles here. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is show you the one mountain, and this is how we worked on all the mountains. I've just changed the different greens, that's all. Okay, so I'll just pick out a lime green, because the mountain furthest away would be a lighter green, and like I said, because the sun is coming down, the top of the mountain would be pale and the bottom part of the mountain would be really dark. Okay, so if you take if you took a really dark green, then it would be too dark for that back mountain. So I've just taken a lime green. Okay, I'm going to take a medium green and go along the second mountain. So I'm just showing you the differences is all that it would show. So you've been doing it for 18 months, Jane. That's quite a long time anyway. Have you mastered the snipping yet? I'm taking a dark green, because that was the thing that took me a long time to get. I just couldn't seem to grasp it when I first started, and that was it really. It was a bit of a nightmare, but as soon as it clicked, then I was just kept practicing, and then one day it just all clicked in and I was away to go then. Okay, so now I've got my 3 things there, my 3 mountains. I'm going to add a bit of that second green just into the bottom there, so I can blend it with another colour, so make that mountain look a bit different. Okay. I know I keep wiping it with my hand, I know I shouldn't, but I don't put pressure down when I wipe it with my hand, just so you know. I just go very gently And you can, like I said, you can rub it off if you do spread it. So again, I've dipped my kitchen towel into the blending solution. I'm starting in the darker area of the mountain, and then I'm just going to drag that up, and I'm going to leave the top part of the mountain quite white on that one because that's nearest to the sun. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, and then I can use the same bit of kitchen towel to actually do my second mountain, so you can see then that's going to look slightly different again. Like I said, if you do go outside the lines and you're concerned about it, just finish blending, and then once the fluid and the pencil is dried, you can then go back in and rub that piece out, okay, with an eraser. Okay, here's a bit more colour, a bit more blending fluid, a dark one. There we are. And if you are coming to the outer part, let's say I've mastered it. But I love snipping it left-handed. Better-handed with my right.
That's odd, isn't it?
I have come across that in the past with a couple of people who used to come to the class. They were also left-handed, but they found snipping was better with the right. I think it's because they were holding the parchment in their left hand, which they felt more comfortable holding, and then was actually using the scissors in right, which was really strange. But that's how they found it was going, and you know, that's the thing, you've got to find your right way. So there we are. So that is the mountains, and then the panels on the trees was literally 2 colours of green. I've left the edges white. Added a little bit of darker colour there, and then on another panel I would go in with the dark colour I've used on the first panel as the light colour. That's a green, I think. Yep. And then I would use the darker green that I've used within the mountains. So I'm trying to keep to the same sort of colours so that it all blends with each other, otherwise it gets a bit too much. Okay, so I'm just going to take my kitchen towel again, and don't be afraid, I can actually turn that kitchen towel over and use the other end if it gets too manky on the one end. I just fold it over, make a little point again and start again. There's plenty of fluid on there. Better. You can use paper stumps as well, so if you haven't got a blending tool and the blending nibs, you can use paper stumps as well. And paper stumps are just literally within a special factory. They roll paper and they come in all sorts of different sizes, and you use a fine sandpaper, which, well, usually comes with them actually, or you can buy the sander, the sanding paper, and they come in all sorts of different sizes. So that's that, that's the fine one, that's the next one. So what you do, you just push it into your blending solution like that. Again, tap it on some kitchen towel, and then you can go in with your blending tool like that as well, your paper stump, and that works just as well as the other tools. And once that gets really manky, take a sanding paper or sanding block and you rub the tip of that on there, and that's what takes off the colour then and sharpens the tip again. So they would last you absolutely ages. Thanks, Mark. Right, so what else have I got to show you? Maybe a little bit of snipping. Anybody like to see a little bit of snipping and how we prepare. So what I have to say is everything we've done so far has been done from this one side of the parchment, which I call the back. So we put the parchment down, front forward, down onto your plates, and then we're doing the line art, and that's from the back. We also do any white work from the back. So the white work was what we actually did with the black mat and a ball tool, and we actually did, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do here, and then we actually did a bit of white work in, so yeah, so you just flick around, and this is all about pressure. So imagine if you want a nice feathery edge to your white work in, imagine an aeroplane taking off. So basically it's on the ground and all of a sudden it takes off. So as you bring your hand forward, you're actually lifting the tool off. So it's on the ground hard and then it comes off gently. Okay, and that's what you do in parchment. What do you mean by yes please, mum? Are you going to be crafting in the morning, or? The pencils I'm using, Lizzie, is it Lizzie? Yeah, Lizzie. The pencils I'm using are Spectrum Noir Colour Blend pencils. If you click on the link, it does give you a little, at the bottom, it does everything that I've used today basically is down in that link. We are doing a Groovi order on Wednesday, so if anybody did want anything, we can order all sorts of things from them. So I'm just doing one of these little overly target things just to show you the white work, and then I'm going to show you the snipping then. Ah, right, snipping, yes. Sorry, I forgot I asked that. It's lucky, you know, you're listening, mum. So there we are. So you can actually see then that is actually there. So it's got a nice feathery edge, and that's because I've done the aeroplane taking off. Okay, so that's literally taking off like that. Okay, so that's that piece. Now snipping. There's numerous ways of doing snipping. You can use, if you're using flat edges, do we have the blending solution in stock? We can have a look. I'm not sure if it's in stock at the moment, but we do get it in stock. I know we've got a Crafter's Companion order coming in tomorrow, but I'm not sure what's coming in with that.
Yeah, it is in stock.
Oh, it is in stock apparently.
Yeah, I've got 2 in.
Oh, right, there we are.
If you look on the website.
Oh, my light box has gone off. If you go to the Valley Craft site that's linked at the bottom of the comments, Jane, you'll actually see the liquid there, and you can place an online order if you want, and we can actually send things out to you when we're in work then on Wednesday. Okay, because obviously because of everything that's going on, we're not able to go in every day, but you know, we do need to sort out online deliveries and stuff like that. So back to snipping. I hope that helped, Jane. Back to snipping. So with snipping, we use a 2-needle tool. Now again, there are a few different needle tools. There is I'm not sure if, does one of them come with, I don't think it does it? There's all sorts of 2-needle tools. I'm trying to find my Parchment one as well, just so I can show you the difference. I think that's the one. In fact, I think it's, yeah. So, there's 2 different types of needle tools. You've got a, so I have actually got a blue one, which is this one. And if you look, the needles are bold, and then this red Pergamano one is actually a fine needle. Now, Pergamano do a bold needle one as well, and it's a bold 2 needle. And I would suggest when you first start out to get a bold 2 needle, because that would help. It makes the holes a little bit bigger and a bit deeper, and makes it easier for the snipping. And this is what I struggled with as well, because I only had the fine needle one when I started, and I think that's where I got a bit confused. And Gavin have just said that's where he struggled with it as well. Okay, so I'm going to use the 2-needle bold. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this. There's the freehand way, and there's a non-freehand way. So the freehand way is actually taking the 2 needles, thank you, Donna. So I'm just starting down in the corner with 2 needles, and you should keep it upright, but I'm going to put it at an angle so you can see. So I've got a bottom hole and the top hole. I'm putting my first needle then into the second hole, which then makes 3 holes, and then I'm going into my third hole and pulling down. So your first needle always goes into the last hole that you've done, and you just continue on. So I'm following my line of here because I want to snip out this little triangle piece here, and again, just away from the line or alongside the line. Okay, I'm not going to go any further in there, I'm just stopping there, and then I will show you these triangles now. I'll show you the holes. Okay, so that's that there. Okay, let's have a look. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see those holes in there. It's very hard to show holes in a piece of parchment. Ah, there we are, you can see them all there now. Okay, so that's my hole. So literally 2 needles went into there, and then I moved it up, put the first needle into the second hole and went into the third, and so on and so on and so on. So you're only making 1 new hole every time you do it. Now the second way of doing them, your holes, and piercing is always done from the front part of the parchment, so you can see everything is the right way up, the wording is the right way, and everything. Okay, so again, if I took my grid that I did my pattern on, and I placed, so you can see this straight line here, I'm going to place that just away from the last hole of dots on here. Okay, so I'm actually going to place the line on the second hole of dots. I'm just going to make sure there's a line at the top of holes and there's a line at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape that there. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. I might try and lift it up to show you. Yeah, you can. So you can see. So you can see my line is literally here, and this is the first line of dots is actually the line of dots I'm actually going to pierce. Okay, and because this is a straight bold grid, and we know we're going to do every one of those holes, I don't have to go into the last hole. So So I'm literally going to do this line a lot quicker. Okay, so if I bring that up and show you, I'm sure you can see a nice little white. You can see the light. You can see the light. Then where just shine that. Right. You can see it just flickers every so often, but you can see the holes I've already done there. Okay. I don't know if you can. Yeah. And then you just continue on and you do that. So once I've got the holes all the way up to the top there, hi Alona, how are you? So I'm just going up the side here, doing my pierced holes right to the edge of my corner, and it doesn't matter if I go beyond the corner a little bit. Okay, so now I've done a little triangle and I've also done that straight little line. Okay, and I will show you those holes now without anything behind it. So you can actually see all them now, all shining through. Okay, so that gives you a nice way of doing a straight line instead of having to do it freehand like we did in this little area here. Okay, so this is the part now where the little snips come out. Okay, so the snips is what I like to use. It's the scissors, it's the exclusive ones, but there are 3 different versions. Okay, so you have these ones which are the exclusive, then you've got ones that work like a tweezers. Mind showing that? So these are the ones I've got, which is that. What am I doing? Right, I got it. This is the ring lock, what they call ring lock, and the difference between these two is there's a little fatter edge there, but the points are just as pointy, but the holes are bigger for your fingers. So that's the cheapest, that's the middle priced ones, and these are the more expensive ones. Lots of people tend to like these because they are nicer for people with dexterity problems, arthritis, stuff like that, because they actually squeeze there and you just squeeze them and they open up automatically. So that's the 3 different ones. So you could, these are called the curved burger cutters, these are called the ring lock scissors, which is them, and then these are the Pergaman or pointed scissors, the exclusive. Okay, so they're the 3 different ones. Now it's nice if you can get to use all 3 of these somewhere. If you go to a group and everybody's got them, it's good to have a try of all 3 to see which you would prefer, but I do prefer these. Okay, right, so let's show you. Ring locks, I'm using the exclusive, which is my favourite, and I think that's because I've used them from the beginning, so I've just got used to them. Okay, now I'm hoping I can show you this in a good way. So I'm gonna try and get the holes in a place you can see them. Right, yeah. So what I'm doing, right, let me show. I don't know if I can show you that way. It's very hard to show this, I'm afraid. But literally, I'm going to point the scissors into the 2 first holes. I'm going to twist the scissors a little bit, just towards me, and cut. Okay, and then I'm going to go into the 2nd hole that I've already cut with the 1st hole, and the 3rd hole, twist and cut. And you can hear that nice little satisfying snip as I cut them. So into the holes, down, twist, snip. So in, bring your scissors down, twist a little bit, snip. And you know when it's cut, when it does that little snip, across, snip. So I'm missing the holes now because I keep looking in the camera to see if I'm doing it right. So into the holes. So I've just done that, but that's what not to do. Okay, because what you should do, and it's alright, it's because I was trying to get it in the angle of the camera, so I know what I've done. If you are cutting out this triangle, when you put your scissors in the hole, the scissors should always come over the piece that you want to cut out. Okay, and numerous people do this anyway when they first start doing it. Okay, and I've only been doing it for about 9 years, so I'm allowed 2 mistakes. Okay, so if I was going to go around to here now, my scissors would have to come over the piece that I'm cutting out. So I'm actually cutting out this piece here. So I'm going to go back into the same hole. I'm just going to keep going around. Snips in, twist, cut. And once I finish cutting this, I'm going to come all the way around. I like to put my finger behind. It's not very good for camera wise, but I like to put my finger behind because I can feel how far the scissors are going in. And that was one of my first mistakes when I first started snipping, was the fact that I kept putting the scissors in too far, or not far enough, or I was twisting the scissors too much and then it was just ripping it. So there's all sorts of different little elements that you have to be careful with. But when it drops like that, you can then see that on the 2 edges I did right by bringing the scissors over the waist like that. I've got all my little piquets, my little picots, and on this one I've lost them, and that's because when I cut them, I actually cut them with the scissors coming over this area. So I'm glad I did that, because now you can see the difference between that. Okay, so the outer line here, so the outer line here, because this is the piece that's going to drop off my frame, this is the part I would cut down. So I would actually come into there and snip, like I said. So you're going to go in, and because I'm molding it up, it means I can go in with the scissors at a low angle to the parchment anyway. So it means I don't have to keep putting the scissors in, bringing it down, twisting it, and then cutting. I can literally just put the tips in, twist and cut. And that's how you can get a lot quicker then. So once you get used to the snipping, it's a lot quicker. Okay, just I'm not going to go all the way down there, because I want to show you how to blend one of these frames as well. And then I think we'll call that a day then, because it would go on a bit too late otherwise. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I've done those pieces there, I'm just going to show you how that looks. So I'm just going to come in and cut that piece there, and I'm going to take that down and I'm going to cut that piece there. So if I show you, so that is my proper picots, and then that's the waist. Okay, I did that on black bit of card. If I can see that there now, perfect. So that's the picots there. Okay. Oh, thank you, Lorna. It is a lovely light box, Lorna. It's exactly like the ones you sell within your company, which is the ones we actually buy now. Yes, the light box is good for diamond dots as well. A lot of people like to use a light box for diamond dots kits. I've picked up my diamond dots and almost finished it today. Ooh, we'll have to send you a picky. Have to send us a picky, because I'd love to see that. Because you're doing the parrots, aren't you? Right, so let me show you how to do this little blend on the little frame here, just like I have on the main card. So as you can see, it's darker here and here, and then lighter in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take one of the red pencils, because I'm going to do this in red to go with what the red I've added into here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this little piece here. I'm going to do this one so you can see it. And the airplane technique now comes in with my pencil as well. So I'm putting the pencil down on the line and taking off. And notice my lines are getting, not every line is exactly the same length. So I'm just coming down, and as it's coming to the top, because I want it to be thinner at the top, I'm flicking out less lines. And if you've got a kitchen towel, you can wipe it off with a kitchen towel. I'm going to turn it around because I prefer to flick away from myself. You can come forward if you prefer that, but I'm literally going to go away from myself. And again, long strokes first. So once I've blended this out, then we shall ask a question. Right. Seems we are doing a bit of art. I think the question will be an art sort of question. So get your brains working and stuff like that, just like mine is at the moment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold the kitchen towel. Make my little point. Okay, so this is the, I don't know if you will show us at the end.
Have a look at our Facebook.
Jane, we did, if you follow Valley Craft on, well obviously you follow Valley Craft because you're following us now, but Valley Craft on Facebook, Wednesday just gone, Gavin did a Diamond Dots live, and it's actually still on our Facebook. If you go down to there, then you can click on that, and there is a link actually to go to the website then, so you can actually look what all the Diamond Dot kits are, and you can just let us know the DD code for that one, for those ones if you ever fancied buying one. But Diamond Dots is an art thing. It's a bit like painting by numbers. Right, well I can show you that because I have my finished piece here. I can actually show you how I fit that to a piece of card, okay? But there are numerous ways, Lizzie, to fix your parchment. So this is my blending fluid again, kitchen towel, plenty of liquid on that, but I'm rubbing some of it off onto my hand as well, so that's fine. So, unlike we did with the dark here and worked into the middle, I'm actually working from the middle to put some liquid there in between the two because it's such a small area. I'm actually going to start blending from the outer side into the darker area. And the pencil just blends away into a nice. I'm actually going over the edge here to show you that you can actually, and then come down to that. Upstairs. In one of the drawers upstairs in my craft room there. I'm going to show you a couple of ways of fixing parchment to a piece of card in a minute as well. So I'm going to show you the punch method, and I'll also show you the brad method as well. Okay. So there we are. And if you want to get rid of some of the colour in our blended area there, if you want to get rid of some of that colour in the middle, just turn your blending bit of stump over so it's on a cleaner end, and just rub in the centre, and that will actually lighten that area there. So you can then see that's nicely blended. Okay, so how do we fix our parchment? Right, well, I'll show you that now. Okay, I will literally show you that now. So your first way of fixing your parchment is, and what I'll do, I'll bring in this piece and show you. Okay, so I'm going to take a piece of black card. Okay. Okay, Lorna, it's lovely speaking to you. And thank you for explaining diamond dots for Jane as well a bit more. Oh, Kelly. Yeah, I think it was Kelly or Jane. Okay, so this is what I need to do now. I need to get my trimmer or my guillotine, which is just on the opposite side of the room. So that's fine, I've got that. And Gavin have just gone to get my punch for doing to show you the one fixing, and now I'm going to show you how to do the other fixing. Yeah, it is very addictive, Jane. Diamond dots. The one Gavin is working on the Wednesday live last week. It's quite a large one, but that's what he wanted for his birthday. So that's what he had, along with lots of other things. And also blending the rules, blending the lines, or blending the rules with Rhys Jones on Facebook. Lee, that does blending rules with him, also have been doing some lives on their thing, doing a diamond dots as well. And they've got some parrot ones as well. So Gavin has now brought a punch. There we are. So Gavin has brought a punch. I'm sorry you went out of focus just now. Gavin brought a punch, and I'm not sure if you can see better with that or whether it's better with the light. Let's have a look. Let's take that. There we have turned the light off, so that might be a bit better. I'll keep an eye on the focus as well, so you can see it better. Right, so with a punch, if I take a little piece of paper, just to get a guideline, if I put it into the corner fixing punches, and just snip that, it does this, okay? But basically, your parchment then would actually slip in and under like that. But to know how to fix that is another sort of thing, okay? So what you need to do, you need to measure your parchment from edge to edge both ways and make a little note of that. I tend to use centimeters, but you can use inches as well. That's not a problem. And then if that was, let's just say that piece was, let's just say that parchment was 15 centimeters high, and let's just say 21 centimeters long. Okay. What we would then do is measure, so if I go by here, if you measure from the edge of your paper here to where these lines are, where they join, where these holes start. So if that was 1/2 centimetre there, so if that was 5mm, then, and that would be 5mm, then what you need to do, because you're going to have the corner there and up here for a piece like that, so because you would have that there and that there, your paper that you're going to punch into would have to be 1/2 centimetre for this side and 1/2 centimetre for this side. So 15 high would then become 16 high, and obviously if it's a centimetre high that way more, then it'll be a centimetre more that way, so that would end up being 22 centimetres. Okay, and then once you've done that, cut your colour paper to the 16 by 22, and your piece that is 15 by 21 would actually slot then into each corner perfectly. Okay, and I will actually do a little YouTube video or Facebook video to actually share. It'll be a little one, and I'll actually show the full workings on doing that, but I can show you the brad fixing now. Helen, is your next demo Friday? Yes, my next demo will be on Friday, and the demo on Friday is a craft along. If you show the lovely people there the different shaped corner patches, and I'll go and get me brads.
Oh, he's deserted me. There we are. So these are the different punches that we can get from Groovi, from Clarity. So I think that's the one that Ian has used, which does the straight lines. They also do a sort of a curvy one, a nice pretty one there, and then there's some other nice ones as well. So if anyone wants any of those, just drop us a message or send us an email, whatever, and we can order them for you. Okay.
Right, so I'm back with me brads. So brads are basically what they used to call split pins in the past. Oh, that's terrible, Lee. But I understand you being busy. We have been today as well. So brads are split pins. What I'll do, I'll show you one of the bigger ones I have so you understand what they are. No, I've got to cut my paper now. So literally a split pin is something that has a diamond or some sort of a thing on the top, like a flat area with a pin or something like that. And then on the back there's literally two little metal pieces that come out like that. Okay, if I show you that. Okay, so that is a split pin. Okay, so that's a split pin, or a brad as they're called now. So to fix these in, I'm going to measure my piece of parchment. Okay, and I know for a fact my parchment is going to be somewhere around 14.5, so that's, let's say 20 by, so that's 20 by 13.5. So that's 20 by 13.5. So I'm actually going to cut a piece of black which is 20 by 13.5. So I'm going to do 1/2 centimetre bigger. So I'm going to cut it to 14 by 20.5. So I like to do small increments in my mat and layers. Thank you, Gavin. So that's that piece. And that is now that piece. So as you can see, there's a nice little black border around it. And I think it's in focus, yeah. You can see all that, that's lovely. Okay, let's get it back in the center. Don't blind you. So that's all that there. So, yeah, the guillotine is very, very nice. We can get the guillotines again, Donna. Crafter's Companion of Amlong brought out a new one. I know we've got to order some of them in because I know Dawn, is it Dawn has ordered one?
Yes.
Yeah, Dawn has ordered one of them. So we've got to order more in anyway. So the brads. If you take a 1 needle ball tool, a 1 needle piercing tool, so just got a nice little point on it. You can see that there now. Okay, and that's all I do. I put it onto a squashy mat, and where I'm going to fix it, I'm going to fix it into the bit of the purple area there. Okay, what colour brad shall I use, Gav? Gold, silver, bronze. Gold or silver? Silver. Yeah. Yeah, we'll use silver. So what I'm doing, I'm just making a little hole in that area. And I'm just pushing my brad down into there. And while it's still in my squashy mat, I'm just going to flatten my parchment out, make sure it's square on my piece of paper. Make another hole on that side. And the good thing about this, if you decide, oh, well, I'm not really fussy on that colour, you can easily take the brads back out. You can open up the brads on the back and change the colour of the paper. But I quite like the black behind this one, especially because it matches the black that's behind that panel there as well. Okay, so I've just got my third one in, and I'm just going to do my fourth one over in this corner. Give it a little wiggle. You can use a very fine pokey tool as well. You can even use number 1 tool, but it will put a bigger hole in it. So it doesn't matter, as long as your brad is big enough to cover the hole, you're absolutely fine. Okay, so if you can see that now, I've got 4 little silvery brads, 1 in each corner, but it's still in my little mat. So that's all I do. I just pull the corners up. Yeah, I've gone with silver, Donna. And I'll show you the first one before it all flops out. And I'll try and flip it. So what I tend to do is my one corner flipped over, and I've just made an L shape out of it. So it's in the L in the corner. Okay, and you can actually take that away so you're on a hard surface, so that when you push your pins down on the back, it's actually going to be really tight on the front as well. So there we are. So you could even do that, as long as it's not sticking out over the edge, you'll be fine. What's the difference between a plate and a spacer plate?
Have you got a spacer plate?
Right, I think I know what you're on about, Caroline. So that would actually be my piece, and then I would actually put that onto a white card. Okay, so that's so I hope you're happy with the fixings and a little bit of snipping that I've showed you. I will be adding more videos onto YouTube and our Facebook soon. What's the difference between a spacer plate and a normal plate? Can you give me one of the little folders with the men plates in? No, that's could be that one. Depends what's in the front. The men plates. Yeah, that's the one. That's it. So, right. So, Carolyn and anybody else. Thank you, Lizzie. No problem at all. There are numerous videos out there that will show you how to fix different ways as well. There is another way, but I haven't actually got any invisible thread here at the moment. But once we get that into the shop again, I will actually be showing that as well. So this is a Groovi plate mate. Any Groovi plate mate is a plate that has a hole in it. So that's what a mate is. Okay. A normal plate then is literally a plate. So it'll either be a little square one like that, which will actually fit into your Groovi plate mate. Okay. And then you've got numerous plates then that don't fit into plate mates, but there's all different plate mates. Right, what is a spacer plate? A spacer plate is one of these. If you have a Groovi plate mate, and you have another plate which fits in there, but there's nothing in there, so this plate can slide around, then they do spacer plates. And the spacer plates is another plate that fits into your plate mate to stop this plate moving around. Okay, and literally they make them in different sizes. So that is a spacer plate to stop this plate from moving. Okay, and then it helps it to fit into a plate mate so that when you're using your parchment like this, it stops the parchment being pushed down into a gap. Okay, if that spacer plate wasn't in there and I put pressure down and I happen to put my elbow down or my hand down, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to put a line in my parchment, and that line will actually turn white. It will actually be a white line. Now in your Groovi kit, you actually get a spacer plate, and that's because you get this bit and this bit. So this is your plate and this is your Groovi plate mate, but it's also a spacer plate for the bigger plate mate. So it's class. So it's anything that'll stop a plate moving inside a plate mate. So that is moving in that plate mate. So this is obviously a spacer plate to stop that one moving in there. But then if I didn't have a big plate like that, then that would be my Groovi plate mate and that would be my plate. Okay. So that is literally what a spacer plate is compared to other plates. And there are numerous size plates. There's your little plates, you've got baby plates, you've got A5 square, you've got, I think they're 8x8 squares, or what they call A4 square. Which there is a plate made for that, but it comes in 2 pieces because it's such a big piece. So yeah, so really that is everything that I can show you tonight. But we have got a little question. You didn't hear that, Donna. What was you doing? I've got a question to answer as well, to ask, and this is for winning the card that I'm going to finish off for you. What's the name of the French painter who is famous for his painting of lilies in a pond. So again, what's the name of the French painter who is famous for his painting of lilies in a pond? And the first one to comment the right answer will actually win our card.
Full name.
His full name. Well, yeah.
First name and last name.
Okay, so that is what you get. And you can even choose then whether to have that one or the one that I haven't quite finished from today's. So if you want less balloons, if you want one with 21 on the balloons, you can have that one. If you don't and you want another one, then I can do that one for you and finish that one. So the choice will be yours.
Very quiet. They were Googling.
Probably doing what I would do. Google. So, what didn't you hear, Donna? Claude Monet.
Yay!
Is that Donna, the first one?
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations. Yay! So, what didn't you hear, Donna? What a spacer was? Yay. So was it a spacer? Because if it was, a spacer plate is, if that's a Groovi plate, mate, if I had a plate that moved around in there, then that is still a plate. And then a spacer plate is something that would go in there to stop that other plate from moving. So that is what a spacer plate is. But without the big plate there, that is your plate made now because it actually fits that one. But if I wanted to fit that into the bigger plate, then that becomes my spacer, so that the small plate didn't move around. So, like I said, anything, hope you like that. And there will be a craft along going on Friday with myself. We're actually going to be making a card from beginning to end. And we will be posting a list and photos tomorrow, which will show what you need for the craft along on Friday. And the craft along will be from 2 hopefully till 5, 5:30, depending on how we go. Okay, might be a bit earlier, you never know, but 2 o'clock is when we'll be starting. Okay, but please do look at Valley Craft website and follow the other lives that we've done. And I'd like to thank you all for joining me tonight, and congratulations again, Donna. Yay! That's all you need to do is choose what card you want, one with the 21s in the balloon or the one that I've been starting tonight, and then I can finish that off for you. Okay, so thank you very much everybody, and last goodbye.